ballers, what's going on? It's Preacher. Now, I've got to share this story with you. It's not about WoW or anything like that. It's about PC Day. And it was horrible. It was one of the most stressful experiences of my life. And you've got to hear what happened, okay? So, Tuesday last week, I go downstairs, normal day. I'm working on the next 2 top 5s, which are coming back to back. So, I'm ready just for a day of chilling out, just getting the script finalized, and then starting to put some footage together and all that kind of stuff. So, the mail comes downstairs. Ben goes crazy. Go downstairs, get the mail, and one of the letters is from the tax office. It's terrifying. If you're self-employed, no one likes a letter from the tax office. Have you got everything down? Have they said you've not paid enough? Do you just have this huge bill waiting for you downstairs? So I'm looking at the letter, and I'm like, oh man, tax office, shit. So, open the letter like you've got to do. You can't just avoid it, you've got to open the letter. It's a fucking check, okay? I've overpaid my tax. So I get this check, and it's for like £660. I get this check just before Christmas. And I look at it, and I'm like, no fucking way. I can't believe this thing. I can't believe this. So I phoned her, and I was like, we got a check for like 660 quid. And she's like, oh, you should get your graphics card. Now, I hate spending money myself. Really detest it. Absolutely detest it. Usually takes me a lot of convincing to spend money on me. But I had mentioned a little while ago to Emma that I needed a new graphics card. Mine blew up about 5 months ago. You guys might remember my graphics card blew up. I replaced it with another 660 Ti. And it's starting to die again. I noticed in like Arkham Origins, I was really sort of scraping the barrel to get a reasonable FPS. Any of the newer games was kind of pushing it a little bit far. And I could feel that I was already killing the new graphics card. So I had mentioned I was kind of looking to a new one and maybe just doing an overall upgrade. I hammered my PC into the ground. So I'm like, no, I'm not going to get a graphics card just before Christmas. That's stupid. It's crazy. I'm not going to do that. But Andy, Ghosty, even got in it. He's like, dude, just go and get the fucking graphics card. Don't even worry about it. So Friday, it took like that long. Friday, or Thursday night, actually, I said to him, look, okay, let's go and get the graphics card tomorrow. I've made the decision. We're going to spend this money. I'm going to get this graphics card. It does help because I love high quality footage going out to you guys. I'm recording lots of stuff. So yeah, okay, let's do it. Let's make the decision. So the research has been going on for a few months of what graphics card to get. Now, if I'm going to upgrade and I'm going to spend the money, I kind of want to get something really, really nice. So I had my heart set, and now some of you are going to go crazy, I know, because it's like, why would you get that? But this is what I decided on based on benchmarks and websites. I was going to get the Radeon 7990. Big motherfucker. Dual GPU. So it's essentially 2 cards slammed into one. Still works in Crossfire. I'm aware it's not the best for World of Warcraft by any means. But in terms of everything else, it was blowing everything out of the water, the 7990. And it was a good price because AMD had just released their R290X, their competitor to the Titan. So the prices had actually dropped pretty significantly. So I was cool. We were talking, this card was probably about £800. And then suddenly the new card came out and it dropped to about, I want to say it was about $470 or $480, something like that. So really expensive. The biggest single purchase I've made on a PC ever. Right, I always get little bits and pieces, and the graphics card, the GTI, the 660 Ti, that's the one that cost me about $250, I think, and that's like expensive for what I paid. So I was like, okay, gonna do it. So we drove to Scan, which is a great store. Does a lot of high-end PC parts at a reasonable price, right? So and you can get it on the day, which is always nice. So this is new PC day. Essentially, new graphics card day is like new PC day. I'm really excited. I'm stupidly excited, like a little kid. Get to Scan, go to the counter where there's like a... I want to compare it to like an Apple genius, but really he's a guy who knows what the fuck he's talking about, and he has this separate desk where you can kind of chit-chat about things before you buy them. So I go to this guy's like, hey, I really want... the Radeon 7990. And he looks at me like an idiot. He's like, why? Why would you get that? And I was like, well, it's one of the best cards in the world. It's like the top trumping card without having to buy individually 2 other cards. I can't afford to buy 2 Titans or something like that. He says, yeah, but Nvidia's releasing the 780 Ti. Why don't you get that? I said, well, I have checked the 780 Ti and the 7990 does beat the 780 Ti. If I had 2 780 Ti's, then yeah, that would win. But for the money I'm spending, this is the best card to get. And he looks at me, he's like, I guess, okay, right? You can, sure, whatever you want to buy, whatever you want to do. And I said, have you got any 120 hertz monitors? Because we're going to be slamming the FPS now. It's going to be off the fucking page. And he goes, no, we haven't got any in. All we've got is like really stupidly big ones, like 27 inch, going to cost you like £400 or something. It's like, yeah, well, I'm not spending that. So he goes, okay, 79.90, pay on my card. I'm handing the card over. Now, it's worth noting that my case, my PC case, could not hold a 7990. This is part of the problem in making this purchase, okay? My PC case was just not long enough to fit this card. It's fucking monolithic, this thing. So I had to buy a new case. And I was kind of trapped. I felt trapped that I was going to have to buy a full tower, like the big boy. And I didn't want that because it blocks out the sun. Like, my window is there and my PC is right here. So it would block out the sun, literally, this giant case. But I was kind of resigned to the fact that if I want this card, I'm going to have to get a full tower. And long term, maybe I want to put more components in, so having more room would be better, I guess. I mean, I don't use a lot of drive bays. I don't think any of us do anymore. So, walking in, I spotted this case. And I'll show you a picture of it, right? It's a MIDI case that is badass looking. It comes in gunmetal grey, and it's extra long. It's a gaming case to fit all these cards in. So I asked the guys, like, is this... I mean, I was walking around the store. I went to where they had the 7990s on display, and I've got my hands, and then I'm going to the case like this, and I like put it. It's like, oh, it's gonna fit. So I double check with the guy. I'm like, is this definitely gonna hold this card? And he's like, oh yeah, definitely. This is a great gaming case. It's actually really, really nice. I forget the name of it. In-win something. I'll show you a picture. And so I was like, right, I want the card and I want the case. That's like my £660 spent, done, dusted, got it within budget. Awesome. Go to the counter, get the 7990. It's in this fucking box, man. It looks so sleek and nice. And it comes really professionally, like an Apple product, you know, where they do like a lot of effort on the casing and all that. Gives me a certificate for free games. All games I had, which sucked, right? It's like, oh, we get Bioshock Infinite with this. I was like, oh great. I'll give that to my brother, I guess. So we get the case, and then he gives me the case. Now, I also want to point out here, I have the most hardware work I've ever done in my life on a PC, on the God's honest truth, is swapping graphics cards and memory. What I have never done is like a motherboard fitting or a processor fitting or anything like that. I've certainly never fitted a case, motherboard into a case and connected it all up and all that stuff. So I was really worried about that. Usually it's my brother's task to do that, but he's on holiday. He's in Spain or Lanzarote or some fucking place right now. So I don't have him there to kind of come in and make sure this stuff's all working. I've got to do this myself. I could have waited, but I am not going to sit there with a 7990 on my desk and not put it in my PC. So I have to swap the motherboard and processor and all that into the new case. So I get home. This is Friday evening, and I say to Emma, look, am I okay to go and play? Are you all right to look after Max for a little while? I'm going to go upstairs and play. And she's like, sure. 3 hours later, it's time to turn on. And I'm texting Ghosted. I'm like, dude, I'm about to press the on button. I hope this fucking works. Let's see. Push it. One shot, baby. Fucking one shot. PC comes straight on. Badoosh. Picks up on the 7990. I pre-uninstalled all my NVIDIA stuff from my old card. While I was waiting, I've stuck the 660 Ti in a backup PC. It fits like a dream. Just about, that case just about fitted it in. And it's on. It's on. Install all the drivers. Download the latest up drivers. Boom. It's ready to go. Run 3D Mark 11. Top score. 85%, better than 85% of the PCs that have been ever tested. I'm like, that is awesome. I'm so fucking pleased. Boot up, wow. Performance loss. I can't express to you the disappointment. It was the most disappointing period of like 5 minutes I've ever had in my life. I've never spent this kind of money on my PC. It's new PC day, which is so exciting for any of you who've ever had that. Turn it on, and I was studying Shrine of the Two Moons. I had 30 FPS. Which is lower than my 660 Ti. Now, I'm aware of WoW and Crossfire has issues, but, you know, even then, it should be better than my old card. 3D Mark said it was fine. So I'm like, I've lost performance in WoW, and I'm Googling around and stuff, and people are like, yeah, well, WoW's, you know, it's processor heavy, and so, yeah, maybe you're not going to see those kind of results. I'm like, it's got to be better than what I had before. It's got to be, look at the fucking thing, it's massive. Nope. So I load up Arkham Origins and stuff, and yeah, I've got like 60, 50 FPS, and it's like, well, that looks really nice, but it keeps nagging me that WoW just isn't running like it should. And I can't have 30 FPS in WoW with what I do for YouTube. I can't show you a video of someone running at 30 FPS and stuttering in a raid and all that. You guys would be like, what the fuck? Are you playing on a potato? What the hell? You're making professional videos here, or supposed to be. What the fuck is this nonsense? So it was really bothering me. I was super disappointed. I was almost upset. I remember sitting here and I'm thinking, I've got to have to take this card back. I've got to take this card back. And Emma went to bed. It's getting on for 2 a.m. And I just sat here, and then I made the decision. I was trying to get other things to work. I was checking what the problem was. And then it kind of dawns on me, it's my processor. My processor was an i7-950, and it's way out of date. So I started doing these comparisons, and I find out that stores don't even sell this processor anymore. It's like so old school. It's about 4 years old, I think, 4 or 5 years old. And even then, it was budget line, right? And it was one of those ones that comes out for like mid-range. It's like, yeah, well, you know, if you want something with an i7 tag on it, you can buy this processor. It's got i7 written on it, but it's kind of the budget one. It doesn't really work out. So I'm just like, I should have bought a processor. I didn't do my research properly. This is my own fault, and then I hate myself. I've spent all this money, and it doesn't work. So I'm like, take it out the PC. This is 2 a.m. Rip out the 7990. Back in the box, every little component in there, seal it up, got to get a refund, got to do it, and then got to get a processor. So I spent the night researching processors, and all the answers for like the top thing are 4770K, new motherboard, and memory. That's what you're going to have to do. My memory's not going to work. My motherboard that I currently have doesn't support it. Gonna have to get all these things. So check it out. It's about £30 extra than the graphics card. So whatever. That's what we're going to do. I come into the bedroom. Emma's awake with Max. He's feeding. I'm like, we've got to go to scan tomorrow. This is Saturday, right? Got to go to scan. So, well, I'm busy tomorrow. And I need the car. We only have the one car between us. So I call Andy. I'm like, do you want to go to scan tomorrow? He's like, well, I'm busy till like 3, 4 o'clock. I'm like, oh, man. This fucking sucks, right? It sucks. All the people I got to scan with aren't available. So I'm like, oh, motherfucker. So I wait during the day, I do my jobs, I clean the house, I do this, and I'm biding my time. This 7990 just sat on my desk, man, and it's just laughing at me because it's like, ha, I'm really good, but you can't use me, motherfucker, get out of here. So eventually we go to scan, but Emma wants to go do some shopping as well, get some stuff for Christmas for the baby. So let's get this piano thing. And I get to scan, and I'm dreading this now, the refund thing, you know, because there's nothing wrong with the card, I just don't want it, that's it. And I want credit. I want credit because I want to pick up the processor and stuff. I don't want a refund per se. What I'd like is store credit because I'm just going to blow it all again in about 10 seconds. So I go to the refund counter and I just give him the card. He said, why don't you want it? I said, I did not get the performance gain that I needed. Simple as that. He promised big things, didn't get it. Didn't get it at all. He goes, okay, refund. I was like, oh, sweet. I was like, can I get credit? Because I need to pick up some stuff while I'm here. And he's like, nope. I'm like, why? And he's like, no, I can't do that. He's like, it's going to take 4 or 5 days for the money to go back into your account. I'm like, oh, dude, what are you doing? So I'm then faced with this fucking option, man. Do I either dip into my savings and pick up the stuff while I'm here? Or do I wait for this money to go back into the account? And I'm talking to Emma, and she's a bit frustrated now. It's getting late in the day. Max is getting a bit weary. And I'm like, right, okay, look, we're not going to come back in 5 days. I'm just going to pick up the things now, then we'll go and do the shopping. It's going to be happy. So I go to the counter, I queue up. It's Saturday, it's really busy. I queue my ass off. I get there, I was like, I want this, this, and this, and here's my refund slip to this lady. And she's like a bit of a gamer nerd too. So she does the refund and she puts all the other stuff. Pay again. So I'm now like £1,200 out of pocket. Give her the fucking thing. And she goes, okay, that's all done for you. Did you not like the 7990? And I said, no, it just didn't do it for me. It didn't do what I thought it was going to do. And she went, oh yeah, we all got 7990s in the store, and then we all returned them and got 770s because NVIDIA 770s because we all thought they were terrible. The benchmarks, if you get it right, it works really well. But in general, not at all. That's what she told me. I was like, why didn't you say that to me yesterday? Why didn't you say to me that most of you tried this fucking thing and it's bullshit? And she's like, well, you know, that's just the way it goes. I'd stick with a single card if you can get one. Why don't you get a 780 Ti? They're all wearing NVIDIA shirts, by the way. I'm like, yeah, fuck you. Go and get I've got my motherboard, got my processor, got the memory. I bought a cerulean blue. Yeah, cerulean blue memory because the picture of the case said it was blue. So, got all this stuff. Then we have to go shopping. It's throwing it down, it's hailstoning. And I just want to get home and play with my new motherboard and processor, right? That's what you want to do. And I'm also dreading the fact that I've never put a processor in a motherboard before, let alone last time when I swapped the motherboard for the first time ever. I kind of knew where things were going to go because they were already plugged in. I just had to mirror that again. So this is brand new territory for me. So an hour or two of shopping, I was dying not to complain, right? You just want to go. I was dying not to complain. So we get home about 6 p.m. on Saturday. It's going to take me like 3 hours, I think, to sort this out. So I fucking wipe everything off, ready to go, new motherboard in, slap it in. And if you've ever fitted a processor before, the bit where you clamp a processor in is the most terrifying few seconds of your life because it feels like you're going to snap the processor. And if you've never done it, just be aware it's normal. But I didn't know that. I had to watch a YouTube guide. I was like, is this right? And he's like, this processor's really expensive. Oh no. And it's in, right? So got it all in, turned it on, starting Windows. I'm like, nailed it. Blue screen of death. Mother of God. I was freaking out. I was like, I double checked everything in there. I have no idea what could possibly be wrong. So maybe it's just an error. Like you do, I'll just reset. Reset, didn't work, blue screen of death, and I'm on my phone and Googling and foruming and stuff, and it's like, oh, if this specific motherboard doesn't support your hard drive straight away, you have to change this thing in the BIOS in order for it to boot up. And I'm like, oh, thank God. So I do that, boots up, everything's running fine. But this USB 3 isn't working. This is all technical jargon, right? USB 3 is not working, so I'm on the fucking forums again. I'm like, why? And my internet wasn't working on my PC, my Ethernet, even after I'd run the disk. I run the driver disk for the motherboard, was not working, no internet at all. So I'm like, this is bullshit. On my phone, it's like, yeah, you've got to get the new drivers, but your internet doesn't work. What do you do? And they're like, you need another PC, and you need to plug it in, and all that kind of stuff. USB doesn't work. I was like, oh, this is really stressful. Got to about 2 a.m. again. Eventually got everything working. Had to use the other PC to transfer data to it because I had the internet. Got it working. The internet light came on. USB 3 was on. All my ports were activated. I was like, awesome. Going to bed. Sunday was proper dad's day. Sunday's dad's day. Sunday means that first thing we do when we wake up, it's Max's very first swimming lesson, which was amazing. It was so cool. So we go to the swimming lesson. He's dunking, he's swimming, he's loving it, having a great old time. Then it's time to go on like a big walk, a family walk. So we go walking up in the hills. We take Ben, he's running around, he's trying to steal food from people's picnics, all that kind of stuff, you know. And I've got Max strapped to me. I've got one of these things where he's strapped him to my chest and I can walk around with him. So we do all that. After that, I'm exhausted. We've been up really late both nights. He wakes us up really early. We go for like a family sleep because he's tired, Ben's tired, Emma's tired, I'm tired. So we all get on the bed in the bedroom. Max falls asleep on Emma's chest, Ben falls asleep on my legs, and we have a sleep for a couple of hours. And Andy's coming at 7, right? Mr. Ghost is coming to my house at 7. So we wake up about 6, right? And Andy's texting me, he's like, are you ready? I'm like, give me an hour, I'm just sorting out, I've got to do a bit of tidying before you get here, all that kind of stuff. PC's looking sharp. As I went to bed, I thought the thing was working fine. Gets to 7, Andy turns up, and he's like, oh, show me Battlefield 4. Right, I was telling him it's pretty cool, Battlefield 4. I'm having a whale of a time with it. And I want to show it with my new fancy processor, bitch, because it's awesome, right? Boot it up, kicks me out. It won't let me join a server, boots me up, and then he goes on League of Legends. He's like, I'm so bored by that point. He's like, whatever, I'm going on League of Legends. Goes on League of Legends, and I'm like, oh, why isn't this working? So I go to EA, it's like, yeah, I'm sorry, we've done this thing with Punkbuster now. You have to go through all this bullshit on Windows Firewall to actually unlock it. I'm like, well, I'm not doing that. I'll boot up WoW. 20 FPS. I shit you not, 20 FPS in Shrine of the Two Moons. I've got 20 FPS. And I'm angry as anything. But I've already been freaking out for 2 days, and Andy's here, and Emma's in there, and she's sick to death of hearing me talk about PC stuff, and I just got through telling Andy how awesome it was putting the PC together and how cool it looks and all that. So I'm biding my time. I'm sat there, I'm like, this is bullshit. This is bullshit. I'm going into raids and stuff to try and test if it's something to do with Shrine of the Two Moons and get into a raid. I've got really low FPS again. Andy's checking out, hey, what's going on? I was like, oh yeah, I'm just testing the raids. Just testing my new PC. I boot up Arkham Origins, 14 FPS. Yeah. 14. I am now far worse than I was with my old processor. Like, far, far worse. Awful situation. It's gotten just tremendously worse. I then run 3D Mark on it. My PC is scoring lower than an average gaming laptop. And I've upgraded it. I've spent all this money, and my PC now scores way less than a gaming laptop. An average gaming laptop. And I've got all this shit in it. What the fuck is going on? So Andy goes home, and I come in here, and I spend till 3 a.m. trying to fix it. I'm on every forum. I can't work it out. My CPU is the problem. Have I broke it? What have I done? But it's scoring, like it's saying, hey, you know, your CPU is scoring at like 3K. So I'm running diagnostic tools, temperature gauges, checking drivers. Everything's fine. Temperature's great. Passing Intel's test, a diagnostic tool, it passes flying colors. Yeah, it's fine. Processor's fine, but it's scoring way low. It said expected to score like 12K 3D points, scoring 2. Oh my god! Wake up this morning, early doors. Not said anything to anybody. I can't freak out about this because I'm pretty sure it's my fault. I'm pretty sure it's my fault. So I'm going at it again. And I end up talking to a friend of mine who's moved to Israel. So he's in Israel. I'm like speaking to this guy. I'm like, dude, this thing's going on. He's like, oh, what motherboard have you got? He's a super techie PC guy. That's why he's in Israel, to do this fucking techie PC shit nonsense. And he's like, oh, what motherboard have you got? And I was like, oh, it's this Asus ROG thing. And then he's like, oh, I know what you've done. He said, your BIOS, right? Your BIOS automatically uses a power saving feature. And I was like, oh, I know all about power saving features. I know all about that. It's fine. It's no big deal. He's like, no, you don't know about this. He's like, I deactivated them. It's fine. He's like, no. Go into this menu. My fucking BIOS, right? I have no idea why it did this. Has automatically told my PC to only use 1 of the 8 cores on my processor. 1. And it was hammering this one to death for power saving reasons. And I just click this button that says, don't do that. It's got this button, it's like, yeah, don't do that. Use all the cores, because that's why I bought this fucking processor. Use all the cores. Boot it up. And now it's like 4 p.m. Finally getting the BlizzCon video out, and it's working like a dream. I went from fucking 30 FPS to like 117, wow, and I was raiding at 150 while doing Iron Juggernaut and all the explosions and the Dark Shamans. I had like 150 FPS. Oh, dudes, I tell you, I've never been so disappointed so much in my entire life. It's just was such a horrible last few days, especially with BlizzCon going on, because I should have been so excited about Warlords of Draenor. Everything's been so cool, but that's what's happened. I just needed to share that with you. What a horrible couple of days. But it's fine now. Everything's cool. Feel free to rage about my choice of hardware and stuff. See you later, guys. Be good.